have hidden inside of my brain. I'm sure there's a lot of those words.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You're a man of many words.
I
Oh,
guess
sorry.
so. It's okay. Well, it's okay.
Or not sorry. Regular, something besides sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. It's thank you. It's thank you. You say thank you for your patience. That's the thing. That's what I use a lot. Sorry versus thank you. Like thank you for your patience. Thank you for waiting for me instead of saying sorry I'm late. Thank you for waiting for me. And this kind of lines up into the whole positive thinking. What do you want people to think about in relation to you? Right? You come in. Let's say you're late, and you come in and say, "Hey, sorry I was late," and they're like, "Yeah, she was late. What a bitch." Right? But if you show up and you're like, "Hey, thank you for being patient," they're like, "Oh, they're recognizing me for my patience. What a lovely human." You see, same thing, but you take responsibility of the emotion and you give them something positive to hold on to rather than being mad at you. You know, and this goes very deep into everything. So that's why thank you for being patient and thank you for whatever, right? Welcome, everybody, to the Almighty Psyche podcast. Today, we have an amazing special guest, one of my closest new best friends that I get to chat with almost on a day to day basis. Um, Kara. Kara is here with us to, I don't know, talk about stuff. Who cares about what we're going to talk about? What I'm going to tell you right now is that it's going to be fuego. If you don't speak Spanish, it means fire. Yeah, it's going to be fire. Now, I've got a chance to really connect with Kara over the last, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks. I don't even know how long it's been. And we actually jumped on a collaborative journey to share something truly magical with the world. And I know you and I are going to cover that in just a few moments. But right now, I'm just giving you a teaser about this beautiful individual. She's been through a lot. She's changed dramatically from time to time. Right? She's grown into an individual who is, I mean, just gorgeous, just a beautiful individual that I love spending time with, and that's why I just want to bring her here so we can just, I don't know, take our brains and just mesh them into one and see what kind of beauty other people can extract from that. Yeah. So, Kara, welcome to the Almighty Psyche podcast.
I am very excited to be on the Almighty Psyche podcast today, and I'm very, very excited about the teaser announcement thing. Um, it's what? Yeah, I don't know how long it's been either. I know we first met on my podcast, and it was episode 10,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm on episode 16. I think I just released, so it'll be 3 weeks ago. That's like nothing, but it feels like we've been friends for so long.
An eternity, a beautiful eternity.
Yeah. So do you want to do the big announcement before we get started?
Okay, let's talk about the big announcement. So, so yeah, so we met on the Conquest of Bliss podcast, which thank you for having that. First of all, if you guys aren't listening to that, you should because there's a lot of depth in it that can allow you to, I don't know, find yourself, find your inner, I don't know, love, your inner child, just joy, and kind of understand this human experience we're going through. And I know you've been bringing in a lot of interesting and well-educated individuals to chat about, just things like you and I chatted about darkness and whatever else we talk about. I'm surprised I remember that. But it's a truly great resource. So we met there and I thought, wow, what a person. Like I can talk, which I do a lot, and you hear me. You hear a lot of the things that I say. And you can bounce back with your own understandings, similar ideas and your own I guess path that got you to this place, and you can share similar I mean different takes on the same subject that can, help the I don't know, help the image kind of evolve. So I was like, whoa, let's see what happens there. So we started chatting on Marco Polo, which if you don't use Marco Polo, people in the internet world, you should. It's an amazing resource. It's really,
Oh, so good.
yeah. And I know you've been using it for even longer than I, but when my friend introduced me to it, I was like, wow, there's a mean of communication that has no attachments to um, how can I say this? There's no expectation for like replying on time. I know there's a lot like text messages, phone calls, even. There's I texted him or I texted her. She needs to text me back right now, or I'm gonna go insane. I that doesn't have the Marco Polo doesn't have that perspective on it or that lens. You just kind of send it out and then you get back to it when you get back to it, and it on its own is also a very beautiful way to just kind of express yourself without, being rushed or being feel like you're judged or anything. Because you make a connection, you almost speak to yourself, you send it out, and then you hear the other person almost speak to themselves. It's like free therapy. Honestly, it's amazing. I think everybody should jump in on that. But yes, we started chatting there, and the things that evolved were just beautiful, and we decided to take those conversations and make a podcast out of it. The growth of our relationship, the connection that we share, the philosophies that we bounce back and forth, and the understandings that we found up until this point. We want to share that completely raw, completely unedited, completely vulnerable, right? Straight to you. And I am so grateful that you were up for that journey. It's amazing. It's amazing. And it's already, the things we've talked about have been beautiful, beautiful.
Well, and I'm so excited about it too, basically because, I love Marco Polo. So for anyone who doesn't know, Marco Polo is like a video app, and it's similar to Snapchat, but it's also different because you can do live, which you can't do in Snapchat, and it doesn't delete them, which is just beautiful. So I love Marco Polo, and I'm so excited about this journey because talking to a friend one-on-one, it allows you to be a lot more vulnerable. And what's super cool, okay, I'm going to get super stoked here.
Please.
What's super cool about it, or what I'm so excited about this project for, is that I personally was someone who didn't really believe in internet friends for a long time. And so I think that it's really cool to show an example of how you can go from stranger, like on the podcast that we did, we literally and go from stranger to like an friend using just the internet. I'm like over the top excited, but I tend to be extra,
You are exactly what you need to be. And if you call it extra, well, extra for whom? Because for me, this is exactly where we find, that true beauty, that the authenticity of who we are, just express that authenticity. And you have that, and you can do that. And the fact that you share that with me, that's how we can feed on each other and just really grow that beautifulness, and share that with other people. So I appreciate your quote unquote extra, and I will call it the new normal. The new normal. So that's beautiful.
I'm a big fan of like hip lingo. I'm almost 30. I am 30. I know how old I am. And like I just really enjoy using lingo. Lingo is even a word that kids don't use these days. Slang or whatever the kids call slang. That is like way younger than my demographic. And I also like to use really, really old lingo, like hip. Like I feel so hip today. So anyhow.
Words are spectacular.
Really, oh my gosh, they really are. Like the English, well, all languages that I know bits of, but I mostly know the English language, is incredible. It's like what you can do with words. And I mean, you said one time that it's clunky and it's inefficient for expressing emotion, and I agree with that. Like I agree that words can't do what we'd like them to in communication. Like there's so much more to communication, like obviously touch and visuals and all sorts of other things. But what you can do with words is you can have a ton of fun, and you can express ideas that we just wouldn't be able to otherwise. Sorry, or not sorry. I'm just really excited.
It's good. I like that you're excited. And I completely agree. That's why I love poetry so much is, again, like words aren't necessarily meant to express these direct meanings because there are none of us share these direct meanings with each other. Well, like even if we read the definition, we still use it in our own way that means something different, that looks like something different. So that's why, like, for me, poetry is magical. I'm sitting here painting a picture with my own words, with my own meanings, with my own, I don't know, just images, and I share it out, send it out there. And the beauty of words being so almost direct but also ambiguous, that people can take those same words and really make it their own by just reading them and trying to understand them. Because then the image that I send out is going to be completely different when they make it their own. So it's like, hey, yeah, baby, read that stuff.
Yeah, it's so interpretive. And I mean, I've been listening to some of the music that you've created, which is
Mm.
obviously, a poetry in and of itself, as well as music. And I didn't tell you this on Marco Polo. This is the first
Oh.
time I'm saying this. We were talking the other day on Marco Polo, and one of us said something. I think it was I said something, and then I finished on Marco Polo and I started like singing like just like a song that I was making up. And so my point is that I've been finding your art and your vision and your passion very inspiring for me
Mm.
and very exciting. So like I've been taking on all these projects. Definitely a part of that is having a friend who is like a kindred spirit, you
Mm.
know?
I
So
completely agree. Like, support, being seen, just like, or just playing with friends that have a similar way of playing, it can really just kind of ignite a fire under your butt. Be like, oh my gosh, there's these things that drive me crazy, that set my soul on fire, and I'm only doing like two of them. Why don't I do three of them? Why don't I do four of them? And just start just compiling. It's like, this is just fun. Who cares? And I do agree. Sometimes I find myself saying, hey, I don't have time for this little fun project. So I was like, all right, I mean, I have an entire life. So like it doesn't all have to happen right now. It can happen tomorrow, or maybe in 6 months when I do have more time and I can complete these couple of projects. I can do it this way. Like I created a side project where I want to do like a master class, and honestly, right now I'm just like, that's a lot. I'm gonna add friends that might want to participate. I'm just gonna put it down there, and then when I see an opportunity, present itself, it's gonna be there, like more or less available, and I'll just reignite that spirit, and then we'll do it. But until then, it's like, all right, that's gonna be here, and I'm gonna focus on something more tangible, more accessible, something that I can express deeply at this moment, and then I'm just gonna, I don't know, see where it goes, and in the process, find more incredible individuals that I can put into the other project. Be like, hey, I didn't know you existed. Come over here and put you here. So it's like a research session, or a resource gathering.
like
Life,
R&D, like research and development.
yeah. That's life in general. R&D is life in general. Just like you can do something now, or you can just like quote unquote procrastinate in a sense, and just kind of play around and gather things, and it's just when you revisit the old subject, you're like, whoa, I have so much more to bring to this now that I didn't even know before. So that's why I'm no longer like uh what is gun shy? Is that a idiom,
Mhm.
or just, yeah? So
Yes.
I don't need to jump on things at that moment. I can just let them evolve at their own
Oh, that's
time.
jumping the gun.
Oh, jumping the gun.
Gun
Yeah.
shy is like the opposite.
Okay.
Um,
See. Thank you.
but well, and I think the other thing that I've really been learning with these projects too is because, we talk a lot about how little time we have. It's funny how much time we spend talking about how little time we have. And so one of the things that I've learned too, though, is collaboration
Hmm.
takes a huge weight off. So the Draw and Love project, which you are going to be a part of, I'm very excited.
On hold my butt. Well, and we're facing a little bit of difficulties, and that is okay. And
Thank
we
you for
back.
your patience.
No, you're very welcome. I love patience. Patience is one of my favorite things that I've developed in the recent years.
So, for anyone that is wondering what just happened, this is the first time that I'm using my phone for one of these calls, and of course, I got a phone call, and I didn't know how to end it. Um,
That's so
so,
funny.
because like I turned off all my ringers and everything, so I was like, it'll be fine. Nope, just like ended it. But so the Drawn Love Project, which you're a part of, I'm really excited because I've been wanting to do this project. I kid you not, for over a decade.
Mm.
I had this idea like a decade ago, and I was like, I need to do this project. And then it was just like, I couldn't, because I was taking so much of the responsibility on myself.
Mm-hmm.
So when I put that video out, it was like, okay, I need people who are good at this kind of stuff, because guess what? I'm not, and I don't have the time to organize it. But I think if we all work together, we can make something good,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because like decision making is a lot of emotional energy,
That's the
and
hardest
there's a
part, honestly.
so now you're in that group, so you see I just put out polls.
Mm-hmm.
What does everyone want to do? And
Mm-hmm.
then I don't have to decide.
Mm-hmm. But
So,
that's what it is. I know there's even like a Buddhist story. There's a guy, and he's like, he's working in the yard of some guy who, let's call him whatever, a farm owner. We've been talking about homesteading as well, so this will play into it. But there's a farm owner, and he's got a worker, and he's just sitting there, just doing 7 times the amount of work that a normal worker does. And he's like, "Man, go dig the potatoes." He's like, "All right," he's doing it. "Go fix the fence." "All right," he did it. He's like, "You are the most amazing." He's like, "All right, now go to the, I don't know, the tomatoes, and I need you to pick, if it's ripe, if it's not ripe, or if it's bad, which ones I need to throw away." And he did it for a day, and he's like, "I quit." He's like, "What do you mean you quit? You're the greatest and most amazing worker I've had. I'll triple your salary, quadruple your salary." He's like, "The potato business and the digging business and the pheasant business, it's cool. I'm okay with that. But this tomato business, it's decision after decision after decision. It's not worth it." And he left, right? So basically, this moral of the story is, you can get lost and just like into the action of things. We mean art or in any kind of mundane activity, and just do it as a yoga, do it just to do it, and just kind of let the mind go. But decision making process, you have to be present. You have to sit there and weigh everything a million times over, and that is weight on the shoulders. That is weight on the heart. And man, like even after like a podcast or anything or just a conversation, you feel that weight because it's mental energy. And physically speaking, I will go out there, I'll run 100 miles. I don't give a shit. Like it's not that bad. Mentally speaking, oh my gosh, try to sit for 4 hours. For 4 days straight working on some sort of problem. You're gonna feel so exhausted. You're just gonna want to sleep until you die.
well, and that's one of the things that I often try to explain. Here, just give me 1 second.
I'll give you 1 second.
All
One.
right. One of the
Oh,
things, see, it was
wow, that was 1 second exactly. Wow, I respect that.
one of the things I often tell people because I've, run my own businesses and stuff, or business. I don't know what's a business and what's a hobby, but
It's all a business
and I
and
try
a
to
hobby.
explain to people, like, in a lot of ways, I would rather work a 9 to 5, but of course, life just didn't lead me there,
Mm-hmm.
right? And people are like, well, what do you mean? You have all this freedom, and it's like, it's so great. And I'm like, it is great in a lot of ways, and I love what I do, but it's so exhausting. Like just designing a website, for example, and you saw my website yesterday, but just designing a website, for example, is like, you have to, like, so much thought goes into the colors, so much thought goes into the layout and the font, and just like every single decision you make actually matters in some tangible way, especially when you're in the art world,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because then people are looking at your website and deciding if you're actually halfway decent at design and all of that stuff. So it matters,
Mm-hmm.
and it and yeah, it's amazing how much energy decision making takes compared to, like you said, like running a 20, would you say 25 miles? 100
100
miles.
miles.
Or like, like I like to do like burpees. You know what burpees are?
Yeah. Oh, when I
I
taught middle school, that was the punishment for those middle schools. If you don't listen,
I
you're doing
love
burpees.
doing
Me
burpees.
too. They hated them.
And like I don't even really like push-ups that much or jumping jacks, but when it's all together, I just feel so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And I can do that all day and be less tired than,
Mm-hmm.
designing a website, which is me sitting on my ass,
Mm.
but it's not just sitting on my ass, it's real work, right? So
It's the most real work. Like, ugh, I can feel that weight right now. I try to avoid my website as much as possible. I got it set up very well now. It's running. It's good. But then I'll get a thought about maybe editing something or adding a section. I'm just like, I know it's only gonna take an hour, but that hour is gonna feel like 7 hours, and it's gonna suck. But you do what you gotta do. You take care of it. That's why I'm a proponent of not creating problems. Like nipping things at the bud. How can I do something smart so I don't have to come back to it and just keep it up? Say janitorially speaking, right? There's a person, or you work as a janitor, and people come in, they trash everything. How do you take things away so that mess doesn't happen, right? Like this is how I am with health. This is how I am with relationships. This is how I am with literally everything in my life. How do I make sure that the problem doesn't occur, And it makes everything so much simpler. Makes everything so much simpler. Just avoid the problem. This is where lazy thinking comes in handy, like what's his name? Plenty of innovators, they're like, if you're lazy, you're going to create a business model or an idea that's going to get the job done without you sitting there micromanaging the job getting done, right? How do you code it, or how do you I saw an image. I will share this. I saw an image. A guy put a pole in the middle of his yard, tied his lawnmower around it, and then just kept going forward in circles until the whole lawn was mowed, right? And all you have to do is start it up, sit down, and enjoy yourself. Lazy thinking, highly productive. So
Yeah, lazy breeds efficiency.
yeah. So it's an amazing balance that you can find. But yeah, it is what it is. Like, man. Whew, I don't want to talk about website design. It's a sore subject. I did put it on my website that I would design websites, but I think I should take that off because it's not something that I heavily enjoy. I can walk somebody through it. It's like, hey, you want me to design pictures for it? Well, feel free. You want me to set it up for you? But it's like, or I don't know. Who gives a crap? What are we talking about? Um, I agree with you deeply on running your own business, and like having a 9 to 5 is so much easier. Honestly, because yeah, you take the decision making process out of it. All you have to do is wake up, go where you need to go, do what you need to do, come back home, and enjoy yourself. But being your own boss, as you can even give more of your own experience in this, you have to do everything. You have to figure out everything, and then you have to do what you just figured out how to do. And then if it doesn't work, you have to fix it, and then it's a whole mess. Can you tell us about your experience as as a podcaster, as a graphic designer, as everything that you do, and how you approach it to make it better for yourself?
That is a great question. The first thing I did, the first thing that I decided when I was going to do this was that I don't care how it goes. And I know that sounds really silly, and it doesn't mean that I don't have goals, but it's like, I'm not going to do any commissions that make me uncomfortable. So I've turned down a couple of commissions for different reasons. So setting the parameters that this is about, at the end of the day, it's about helping people, and it's about me, and my health and wellness, because I have some health issues and stuff. So like, I'm not willing to sacrifice my health and stuff like that. So that is the primary thing that helps me to survive as a business owner. And beyond that, I just try to flow. I do have I have an app on my phone. I have no idea what it's called. I want to say Journal It. It was super expensive, so like I definitely use it because I bought it on a whim, foolishly, and now I'm like, I need to get the value out of this. So but it's really great because it allows me to create categorized lists. So I have a list for Artstrom, which is my art business, and then I have a list for Conquest of Bliss. Although, to be honest, with Conquest of Bliss, like I've thought like all these subjects and all these people, and I have taken like one thing off of that list because I just have conversations with whoever makes sense and comes up, uh, and other than that, I don't really know. Like I just kind of do and let it flow, and everything seems to work out. Like I don't do any marketing really for Artstrom besides just like posting on my page sometimes. Yet I always have commissions coming in. I always have people seeking me out for work, and I don't know. I just like, and I know this isn't everyone's experience, so I don't want to be like, I did this, so you can do it too. But like, I'm like the luckiest human on the planet because all I have to do is just I'm like fucking Tinkerbell. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss, but I'm like Tinkerbell, where all I need is to believe in myself and have a few people believe in me, and everything just works out in a way. Like even when it doesn't work out well, all the things that don't work out well seem to eventually turn into something that works out well. Like I hand a commission, or I see the commission I think you saw I posted, does anyone know how to draw in this style? That kind of thing. Well, that creates a network of people who are more interested in helping me because I, am a helpful gal and stuff like that. So basically my answer is I just don't know, and I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants, and it always seems to work out. So I have no recommendations or helpful tips at all.
I think you just gave some really helpful tips and recommendations about just being confident in your ability and just showing up, creating a community, and being helpful to that community, not necessarily seeking some to get something from that community, but seeking to give something to the community and being present, right? Just making friendships, long-lasting friendships, like you and I. This wasn't planned. It's like, hey, amazing human being, I want to talk to you, and then now, like, if something comes across my mind, my consciousness that I know that you would be helpful in one way or another, I'd be like, well, obviously Kara, I'm gonna tell them to go to Kara. I'm gonna tell them to talk to Kara. I'm gonna tell them to have Kara do this work because I'm invested in you, in your life, and who you are, and I know that you're gonna do something amazing with it. One side note about the video you showed me on Marco Polo is your what's it called? Your lottery
Spreadsheet.
spreadsheet. I thought that was first of all, I thought it was the most beautiful thing ever. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you win it or not. You're sitting there and you're thinking about how you can give this beauty to the people that have moved you in one way or another. You're thinking, man, I love this person so much, I want to make their dreams come true. I love this person so much, I want to make their dreams come true. So you're living in a world where you're just like you're in your heart, you're making people's dreams come true, and you're giving them love. And while you're making this love inside of you, you're living in that love. And while you're there, you're sharing it. Even if you don't have the $65 million or whatever, you already have that love and you're giving it out. And that is the most precious and most valuable asset in this world. So that's why it's like, yeah, shit's going to work out for you because you established this connection, this deep connection of love. And I appreciate that. I respect it so much. That's why, like, I just love you so much. I love you so much. Like, you do so good.
Oh, I love you too, and I didn't realize that I'd showed you that. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm blushing. Yeah, definitely. I have probably different iterations for however much I win, and I just love the idea. Like most people will sit around and watch TV, and instead of watching TV, I do things like fill out spreadsheets for how I can share lottery winnings, and it's just as much a fantasy as TV. But it's you're right. Like it's so powerful just to like feel it and imagine it, and just like imagine the people that I could help. And like, I mean, I definitely would pay someone to edit my podcast for me.
Amen.
But but the people that I would be able to like imagine with unlimited resources what you could do. Like I try to help as much as I can with the limited resources that I have, but with unlimited resources, you could like, I mean, say it was 70 million is the maximum that you can win in Canada right now. But it's tax free, so it is better. Just saying. But 70 million. What you could do with 70 million to change the world, like I don't know if people even realize this, but if you pay for someone's $1 coffee behind you at the coffee shop or McDonald's or wherever you are, or if you give someone a gift card for $5 or something like that, it doesn't matter how much money it is. It changes people because people are so used to being cynical and bothered and upset and looking for the negative in the world. So if you do a little thing that sparks a doubt, that maybe a doubt in the world being the worst place and that everything awful is going to happen, if you do something that sparks that doubt, then they're like, hey, you know what, maybe I should contribute in some way to making the world better. And I have seen with my own eyes the power of just kindness. And so if you had 60 or 70 million dollars, think you could do so many acts of kindness, and you could change like one of the things on the spreadsheet. So I'm getting very excited.
You should.
One of the things on the spreadsheet is I want to buy Visa gift cards for like $100 or $1,000, and like I'm talking like a ton of Visa gift cards, and just give them to people, strangers, put them in books at thrift stores, put them in pockets of clothing, and with a little note so that they don't think that they're stealing or anything like that, and just spread that love as far and wide as you can. And then you just have faith that at least some percentage of those people are going to continue that on. And before you know it, people actually believe in the world. And that's the first step to healing the world, is people believing it can be healed. So,
I completely agree. 70 million percent. I completely agree. 70 million percent. Because yeah, I mean, right now, and especially just reflecting back on who I was, before I had my transformation, it was just like, here's me. Here, it's me against the world. So why would I even do anything nice to the world if the world's trying to break me down? Like I'm not gonna contribute anything. It's like this guy's looking at me like he wants to use me, abuse me, or whatever, whatever, whatever. It's like I'm not gonna leave $5 in there. He's probably a child molester. And these are the thoughts that are going in your brain because you've been taught to believe that it's you against the world. And I'm sure that's not everybody, but there's so many there's so much art, there's so much music, there's so much messages that says, hey, if you want to change the world, you have to start with yourself. But most of us are like, yeah, start with yourself. It's hard to accept responsibility. So the more we see this kindness is being displayed around us, the easier it is for you to be like, hey, that was really nice. That was really nice. All these things are really nice. Have I done something nice? It's like maybe I'm the problem, and that is, I mean, once you have that realization, because I've had it, and I was like, shit, maybe I'm the problem. Fuck, that's not maybe. I am the problem. Let's fix that. Let's see how we can amend that. And that way, the more kindness around you, the easier it is for you to kind of get swallowed into the kindness and say, yeah, it is way better to be kind than it is to not be kind. And then you feel the transformation start to happen, and man, is it powerful, right? So I
it
definitely agree with you.
really,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's insane how powerful it is. Like I was saying, that I'm a lucky person. I really am. Andre, people are so nice to me. I don't know why, even on the internet. And like I mean, I have butt faces, and I have people who are, up in my DMs looking for things I'm not going to offer them and things like that. But most people are super freaking nice to me, like all the time. So I just wander around like la di da, and and it's just this. It's incredibly powerful, and I don't know how much of that is that I'm now noticing kindness more, or how much it's just like that people like that I'm really lucky, or what it is, but it's fucking miraculous. Like
Mhm.
c'est incroyable, like
Yeah.
just fantastic. So
I love that you say that, and also I love that you say it in French too. But it is like I've seen in my mind, that the world is perfect, and there's anything and everything for everybody, and all you have to do is reach out and grab it, right? You and me, we found that this kindness and this ability to, I don't know, to exist in a world where we're true to ourselves. We genuinely want to help people, and then we go out there and we do that. So then other people who are in the same place, because they are there, they see it and they interact with us, right? And there's also people who genuinely don't understand what's going on, and again, that's okay. It's okay to be wherever you are, and they interact with the world without understanding of how they're interacting with it, and they're getting that which they're desiring, which you interact with anger, you're getting anger. You interact with greed, you get greed. And it's all it is just to understand. It's like, how do I show up to the world? What do I want to extract from it? Because it's my responsibility what happens outside of here. And if I can just show up in that particular way, however that individual would show up, then these things are going to start to show up. Right. So these people, like for you, like for me, we go outside and, because we exude this kindness, people are going to mirror that. People love mirroring things. Like the brain is perfect for that. We got mirror neurons specifically to mirror um, what
other
we
humans.
see. Yeah, what we see. So it's like, yeah, you come up and you're like, hey, here's love. And you're like, ooh, love? I think I can do that. Love. And, we live in this like bubble almost where love just keeps happening to us, which is great. We can take that love and then keep spreading that bubble until everybody's included, until we get to a place, yeah, like you said, unity, where we can start looking at each other and say, yeah, shit happens. I'm not saying suffering doesn't happen or pain doesn't happen or you don't get angry at anybody. But once you start seeing everybody as us and there's no them, you start seeing everybody as a family member that, yeah, you might have qualms with, but that you can get through. You don't longer see them as, oh, this is another person. This is a different species thing that I'm going to stab to this because I don't agree with what he's saying or she's saying or they're doing. Be like, hey, we're on the same page here. Feel this pain, feel this love. You have that. We both have that. How can we overcome it so then it's better for both of us? Just start approaching it as a familial matter rather than a wartime strategy or whatever.
Absolutely. Absolutely, I agree with everything that you just said. Which I love. Like, I love that about our conversations. We've had like one conversation where we like viewed something completely differently, and like that's pretty much it. Which is just kind of cool. But I agree so much, especially because you were talking about how much happens out of ignorance and out of pain, and I feel like recognizing that in other people not only helps them when you're like, oh, they just understand the world differently, or they don't understand this piece, or they're just in pain. Not only does that help the other person, but it also helps you, because like forgiveness is a very difficult
Mm-hmm.
emotion when you don't try to be understanding. But people don't understand that, or a lot of people don't understand that forgiveness has nothing to do with the other person.
Mm-hmm.
It affects the other person's life in no way if you forgive them.
Mm-hmm.
What it does affect is your own life and your own heart. So if we come from an approach like, I mean, I've been there where we're all principled stands and it should be like this. And the other day you said the shooting all over yourself thing.
Yeah.
My I say that. I got excited
Mm-hmm.
when you said that, and then I forgot because I always forget. But um, there's a lot to be said for principled stands as far as the like societal entrenchment in it. Like, we have this belief that well, it's the way that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Should be like this. I don't know why I do weird voices when I
Because you're an
impersonate
artist.
randoms. But you know, there's a lot of that that goes along. But the second you start like questioning, like, wait a second, maybe this person should be given the same grace that I hope to be given. Wait a second, maybe this person is just hurting and acting out of pain. Then, like, not only do you free them up to be who they
Mm-hmm.
are, but you free up your own heart to allow more love to flow in and out of it. There's so much pain in this world, and there's so much
Mm-hmm.
that causes people to act in these different ways. And by allowing that, like, I don't know if I told you this, but like, I join all these groups on Facebook with people with like radically different, sometimes radical beliefs than
Mm-hmm.
me. And I never comment. I just watch,
Mm-hmm.
just try to understand so that I
Mm-hmm.
can find an in, so that I can communicate with people and not necessarily convert them to my way of thinking,
Mm-hmm.
but show them love even if they don't think the way that I do. But
Mm-hmm.
you need an in for that. You need a way to connect with them. So I do that. I'm not recommending other people do it because it can be stressful. But uh, I don't know where I was going with this, and I'm just gonna let you talk now.
That's beautiful. I do want to touch on something that you mentioned. People acting out of ignorance or just acting out of just they don't know any better, right? And I can give a personal example that just happened very recently, in my own little commune, little homestead. My dad, he's been struggling for a really long time being in America and just kind of even just being in his house because he felt like he gave up everything to like everything that he associated himself with, like his house, his car, his way of life, whatever it is, to be here. And he felt like he was being manipulated, controlled, and like also alcohol was huge there, so it messed up with his mind a lot. So he didn't feel like a man anymore. So he allowed anger and resentment and this pain to just kind of continue to fuel, and it kept leaking out here and there all the time. And I see this happening all the time, and I kept trying to approach him. I always gave him hugs every morning. I always tried to tell him love you or anything of that nature, right? Which again, like you said, there was no end, so he wasn't feeling it, and I was doing my best. Well, it came to a point where he almost snapped, right? And well, he did snap. He got really hammered, started throwing things, breaking glass. He started getting violent, and even in that point, like I I I I love fighting. I used to love fighting. I did MMA. I did Brazilian jiu-jitsu. This is fun. It's a chess game, right? But again, he started acting out all like this, and I thought, okay, whatever. Do what you need to do. I let him hit me. I let him abuse me in whatever way, like he verbally and any sort of way. And I continued to start, to mirror love to him, be like understanding that you feel powerless, you feel unwanted in this environment, whatever it may be. You feel like the world again is against you, and I can connect with that. I remember that, but I also found this way to be that's completely different. I can be aligned with love, and I just want to share that with you. I tell you, it was one of the most emotionally hard days that I've faced in such a long time. And again, just like having your drunk father sitting there just shitting all over you, just saying you're nothing, you're crap, blah 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 blah. you know, to allow that to just kind of express itself. So he holds on to it, so he remembers it, and then see a complete transformation the next day because he finally felt the pain that he needed to feel in order to say, hey, this isn't not the life I wanted to. Right, like one of the last things I remember him saying is like, just again, just after shitting on me, I told him, listen, dude, I would die for you. Like I'd literally lay down my life for you right now. And he said the same thing before he just kind of was carried away by my brother and his wife. And the next day, he was just coming out of this, drunken stupor, and he felt whatever my brother said, he was shaking, he couldn't sleep all night. Like he finally felt the gravity of the situation and had to finally face, almost the darkest night of his soul. It felt like. And then in the morning, he was very shy, very, hidden about it. And, first thing I did is like, hey, like I went to go give him a hug like I did every day. It's like, dude, like I love you regardless of what you say or do. Like you fucking hurt me a shit ton. I cried for like 3 hours after that whole thing happened, And like, I love you. Like we're here. Just talk to me. If you need to talk to me, I'm here. Like it doesn't matter, And I remember a person myself back in the past that as soon as something like that could have happened, I just went like, fuck you, slap, punch, punch, But I just having that understanding is like, hey, he is me that just got lost, and that's okay. I've been lost. He is me that's hurt. I've been hurt. He is me that experiencing this fucking weight that he doesn't know what to do with. And am I going to add to that weight? I did for a moment because he needed to feel it, a little more weight. But then you need to take it off so he can finally feel that the ability to grow and to I don't know, find that freedom, because it is that personal journey, the acceptance of responsibility. So I think now there's definitely been a change. There's been a huge shift in his approach to life. He seems like he's more present in the moment. He's not attached to the past or the future as much. He knows that he has to do the work right here, right now, and then if he wants to be in our lives, or he wants to have his own, I don't know, corner of his world here, then he needs to create it. He can't look up to somebody else to give it to him, or he can't look for permission for other people to just kind of do something for him. If he wants something, he has to do it. And it's been revitalized, because before he was ready to die. Honestly, it looked like he was on his deathbed every single day, and is just whining and crying and bottles and blah blah blah, all these. It was heavy and dark, and now it feels like it's been a complete switch, honestly. And it's been like, even for me, it's just, fuck, it's been so good, because I'm good. And then just seeing that the house is now just kind of revitalizing itself and finding more light and more freedom and just more love in themselves. It just makes me want to keep on going, just like, all right, it happened here. Let's make it happen somewhere else. Let's keep this love building until, the pain doesn't need to be so, we don't have to be so attached to the pain and the suffering, we don't have to feel like we're alone, in that pain and suffering.
Okay, so I love that story. I almost cried a little bit. I don't know if you saw. It's just beautiful. Like, I just want to hug you right now, just so you know. That's what I'm feeling. It's like, I wish that I could come hug you. I love that story because I think it's so reflective of the human experience in general. And also, like, I really want to talk to you more about your commune at some point down the road, maybe in Marco Polo, because I have so many questions. But but I just love that story, and I love when we get to see it. We don't always get to see the shift that we make when we touch people's lives with kindness. And when you do get to, it's like such so beautiful, like so much relief and just, what's the right word? It's very validating.
It's definitely something, and it was definitely, I mean, it was, I'm happy it happened, because again, you don't want to hurt anybody, you don't want to cut anybody off, you don't want anybody to go off and just like die over there in the corner. You want to make sure that it doesn't matter who, your family or just a stranger, be like, hey, you have the possibility, you have the ability to take charge of your life, no matter how young or old you are. You have all of these things around you, and as long as you just kind of ask yourself, what do I want? And just even make small action toward it, whatever it may be. Like you were saying, in your business, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. This is not a 9 to 5. This is a process of exploration. So it's like, say, hey, I'm going to accept this as an adventure, hero's journey kind of thing, the call to whatever, there's a whole thing. But, I'm going to accept this adventure. And, all right, well, what's step one? Well, I feel miserable. What will make me feel less miserable? Maybe going out and just being in, like, the cat cafes, like, every day. Maybe that will make me happy, So you go and you play pet cats, drink coffee, and maybe while you're there, you're like, whoa, I could use this time to write a book. Or maybe I've always wanted to write a book. Or maybe there's somebody there that you just connect with and something else happens, And you don't have to know everything is going to happen. You just have to do the next right thing. I'm gonna quote some other movie right now. On Frozen 2, great movie, Frozen 2. I know you don't watch things. Like I said, I made it a point to start watching some movies with the family. But so we watched Frozen 2, and something that was very deep and beautiful that they said. It's like, when you find yourself in the unknown, all you have to do is the next right thing, And I was like, damn, that's fucking deep. That's so good, That's life, man. We're living in the great unknown, and I mean, all you have to do is, when you have the opportunity, learn as much as you can and just absorb as much information as you can and move forward. And then when you find yourself in just a sea of unknown, just do the next right thing. And you can't foresee the future. You don't know what's going to happen. But what is in front of you, what is right here, right now, do your best. Do the right thing that you feel is right in your heart of hearts. And then that will lead you to the next step and the next step and the next step. And eventually, shit's going to be different, man. It always is.
And I think, like, I love that. Oh, and I wanted to say, by the way, I applaud your strength. I don't know, even if I were, like, physically super strong, if I could let someone hit me, even if I left them.
I love getting punched in the face. I just got to say that. It's like I get punched in the face.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, knock on fucking wood. I've never been punched in the face. Anyways, sorry. That was a complete side note. What you were saying about doing the next right thing, I think that is, first of all, that is powerful and deep and beautiful. The only thing that, like, came to my mind as you were talking about it too, is that I would also, like, if I were talking to people about this, I know you know this, but I would also remind people that if you didn't do the right thing in any given moment, let it go. Another Frozen.
Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. But let it go and move. Frozen is apparently just a philosopher's dream. Let it go and move forward, and just keep in your mind that you always have the choice to make the right choice next time, or this time, or whatever. And it's okay, because I have spent a crazy amount of time, years even, looking back at my life and being like, well, if I'd just done this. And it's like, first of all, I have no idea what things would have turned out like. It's silly to think that I do. And beyond that, look at how much time I waste I take away the time to do more good things by focusing on how I didn't do the perfect thing this other time. So I just always think that that's super valuable for me to remember personally, is because it is amazing how shame will just creep right up on you and take over.
Shame is a horrible emotion. I mean, it's not horrible. It's a deep and dark emotion. But yeah, if you find acceptance, and you find deep acceptance, again, just kind of, if you didn't do the right thing, which I know we've all done all the time, and you find that, just like sit with it and be like, here, this could have happened. And then just like, don't beat yourself up, or don't judge yourself. Be like, I could have done better if in this situation like this. You just put that in your pocket like another learning lesson. And then if you ever face it again, you're like, oh, remember how I fucked up last time? Let's not do that because that felt bad. Let's make it different. And then maybe that's not even the perfect. So you put that in your pocket too. And then you try again the next time, Like life is the ultimate teacher. And God, before I kind of, I depended almost on women to kind of put me in a space where I can grow, right? Kind of show me where we rub up against each other, where there's friction, where there's pain bodies, whatever, because it's a lot easier when there's somebody else to just kind of reflect on, And then once I accepted that and just like realized that, oh my gosh, life itself is this whole feminine aspect of I don't know, of existence in a sense. And she will be your greatest teacher. Like she'll kick your teeth in, she'll punch you in the gut, and it's like you can take that negatively, or you could be like, ah, yes, thank you so much. I didn't know that about myself. Let me put that in my pocket and do better next time. I love you. You know.
Well, and I mean, and it's annoying, isn't it? How much we got to learn about ourselves. It's great, but some days I'm like, oh, damn it, I thought I understood. Um, like I know last week I had a conversation with someone and they responded with an emoji. It was the sad face emoji, and it it didn't matter that much. But damn it if I didn't have like so much anxiety and like why? And I like immediately wanted to like like text them back and be like like over explain and be like like almost like desperate. And I was like, why the hell was I just fucking triggered by an emoji?
That's
You
funny.
know? So sometimes it's like, damn it, I don't want to be humbler. I don't want to be humbled and realize all these flaws.
It takes work. I tell you that it takes work. I took my sister out for a bike ride yesterday, and we're just riding bikes, looking at flowers, enjoying the scenery, And then the car came running on the corner, honked, just like randomly, right? Like we weren't doing anything crazy. Honked, looked at me, flipped me off, and it just drove off. And I'm just like, that's interesting. That was an interesting thing to see. I just kept driving of it, and it's stuck in my mind. I didn't get angry about it. I throw him a peace sign, obviously. It's like what. I'm gonna love him regardless. But I was like, what are you trying to tell me, universe? Did I deserve this? Or like, what's going on? And again, I'm gonna accept that. Like everything that happens in my perspective, I'm gonna accept. So I'm thinking, why is life flipping me off? And I'll just go and think about it. Not like emotionally attached, but it's like, did I do something? Could I have done something better somewhere else? And it's a point of reflection. Because sometimes it is easy to just kind of fall asleep. And one of my
I
conversation with gentleman in the last podcast, that's what he was talking about. We kind of live in a wakeful dream kind of state. We wake up and then we fall asleep, wake up and fall asleep. And so I just use things like that. It's like, was I asleep for a moment? Do I need to wake up for something?
I have a theory.
Do
I
it.
have a theory about why that happened. You said you're with your little sister,
Uh-huh.
so it might have been the universe wanting you to demonstrate how to show love when people show aggression to your sister. That's what I think. That's my
Uh,
theory.
it's beautiful. I mean, honestly, like, I doubt that she even saw it, and maybe she did, maybe she didn't. I don't know, but it's like, I throw peace signs at, like everybody that's driving by, because obviously we're on a bicycle, like on a road or on a sidewalk, and I want to make sure first of all they see us and they are safe around us. So I'm just like, hey, peace sign, you see me? Love you, bro. Thanks for driving safe. Love you. And then here's this one gentleman who's like, yeah, and I'm just like, well, I mean, enjoy your day too, sir. It's like, oh, whatever. Like, we're just gonna enjoy these fucking flowers. You see these goddamn flowers? They're delicious, And just really dive into the love of life, and again, I just take it and just play with it and see if it can bring me to something that I might have missed. Sometimes it does. Sometimes I'm just like, move on. You know, it's silly to get attached to other people's, I mean, judgments or anger or I mean, even love, honestly, because then uh, it's other people are not. They no matter how much time you'll spend with somebody, you can never know anybody truly and deeply, and just even see them for who they are. I believe that. I think a lot, and it's always about you and how you can push yourself to where you need to be, right? Nobody's gonna know that where your frontier is and how you need to go over the next step. Even if like you and me are sitting here like we were talking about, we might have love all around us and it's great, but we also have a place to grow to. We also have a place to go to, and somebody can say to us, like my middle school children or my high school kids, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're the greatest artist of all time," and I'm just like, "Thanks, that's a great compliment." Also, not how I feel about myself, because I know where I can go next, and I know I'm going to keep pushing that line. That's why it's important not to get attached to compliments, because even though they're nice, they're an opinion of you by somebody else. And also the shit that people try to put on you. Nah, whatever. Didn't need to hear it, but thank you for your opinion. Take it off and keep on moving, because you know your self-worth. So that's why it's just like, understand you are who you are. You're going to be who you're going to be, and gauge yourself about, we should all have self-love and self-worth. Gauge yourself on where you want to be and how you want to push yourself. And if you're not there, still love yourself. Like, I'm good, I'm here. But if you're just trying to get to where you need to get to, just, compliments and aggression, or the opposite of compliments, they don't stop you. They don't stop you or propel
I
you.
That's an interesting thought. I mean, I obviously, or well, maybe not obviously. I say obviously a lot, and I don't necessarily believe these things are obvious.
You know what I
But
say a lot before you continue? I say I completely agree, like, so much. Like, I just keep listening to podcasts, and all I say is I completely agree, and then I go. I think that's my transition, but it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
uh, so I completely agree with the um,
Obviously.
um, with the negative part, like about insults and not taking things to heart. I'm a big believer in people are never rejecting you. They're rejecting either a perception of you or a projection of what they think a situation would be and stuff like that. Never thought about it on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have thoughts about that yet because I needed to stew in there and get all juicy and stuff before I really have any. But very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The
Yeah,
duality
I
of
don't have any.
nature. That's okay. The duality of nature. It's just about being, your own individual, and again, the outside world kind of, gauging, you getting value from the outside world, because you can get shat on and say, oh yes, I'm a piece of shit because all these people say I'm a shitty person, or you can get just lifted up, say like, you're an incredible, amazing human being, and everybody just keeps echoing that to you, and you can get lost in that as well. Like, both of those can be very misleading, because if you're getting your perception from the outside world, you will never know the inside world. But if you create that understanding from the inside, you understand who you are, you understand yourself as an individual, right? You know what you give, what you share. Then again, yeah, somebody can say you're stupid, and you know that, yeah, that's their opinion. I know what my mission or my path is, and somebody can say, yeah, you're great, and they're like, sure, thank you, but again, only you know where you are and where you're going, because they might just say you're great for the wrong reasons. And it's like, thank you for your opinion. Again, I'm gonna keep moving with my own way, because it's still their own projection. It's still their understanding of who you are, and they don't have the inside view of that.
Yeah,
Um,
that totally resonates for me. I totally feel you. And I've had some experiences like that.
mm,
I don't know if you've ever had this. I feel like you probably have because I feel like in some ways we're just like the same person on completely different life paths.
yeah.
So I imagine this happened to you too. But I've interacted with some people, and I think the first time it happened was the first concert I ever went to, Avril Lavigne, if you're wondering, because I'm very cool.
Nice.
Um, and I know it was the first time this ever happened where someone started talking to me and it felt more like a fan type situation, like where they were talking to me not as a person but like
Mm-hmm.
some weird. And
Projection.
this has happened, yeah, this happened a lot of times in my life where people are just like, they're like fans of me. They're not necessarily my friends, we don't necessarily have some deep connection, but they're like, Kara's just amazing, and like, look at all the things Kara does. And I'm like, 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 and it always made me super uncomfortable. So and it's not even just like dudes who have the hots for me. That's
Mm-hmm.
the weird thing, is that sometimes it's like super normal, chill, beautiful women, and they're like, look at Kara, and I'm like,
So funny.
don't don't look at Kara.
I actually
Sorry.
had something very similar, maybe like a week ago. I had a message on Instagram, and somebody's like, "You're sexy." I was like, "Thanks," and they're like, "You're really cute." I was like, "Cool, thank you very much, appreciate you." And then just kind of trying to start a conversation. I'm just like, "Okay, like, what do you want from me?" Kind of thing. What are you trying to get out of this? Like, great, you're appreciating my visual appealness,
Physique and stuff, yeah.
physique. It's like, awesome. Like, that's not where value is at all. Like, you want to get my attention, go a little deeper. But yeah, again, it's just like, it is what it is. People are going to see you through their own lens, and that's why it's like there's only a certain few people that you can that once you let in. I take criticism very, um seriously from the people that are around me, the people that I respect and trust and love, because then I know they understand what I'm trying to do with my life. They understand where I'm trying to go, and then I'll open myself up to critique to them and be like, listen, like obviously you don't know everything, but I trust you enough that you understand what my vision is to kind of tell me, hey, what's happening here? What am I doing? Right. So then from them, I'd be like, oh, you're doing this well. You're doing this shitty. I'll be like, awesome. Thank you very much. I'll take that into consideration. Again, your word is not God, but I will think about what you said. And then there's this bubble outside of that where people they'll say a whole bunch of shit. They'll say, you're stupid. They'll say, you're great. And be like, thumbs up, yo, thumbs up, keep doing you. And then just like it just doesn't even permeate because they have no access to what's going on the inside whatsoever. So it's just building your circle, building your community, and knowing where to place your faith, I guess.
That totally makes sense. And I gotta wonder, like, what was she trying to like get at, or he? I don't actually know if it was a she, but like I always like, because I'm the same way, and people always seem really like bothered when you say thank you to a compliment instead of complimenting them back right away, and they're like, oh, and then they don't know what to say because they expect you to be like, oh, you too, or something. And it's like I'm not hitting on randos in my DMs for no reason. Like, come on, ain't nobody got time for that.
It's true. It's true.
So, anyway, sorry, I just you're right. I say it so much. Anyways, thank you for being patient.
That's funny. It's beautiful.
But yeah, I find that story very interesting, and I just, like I said, it's the strangest dynamic. It's so uncomfortable. I would much rather have close people, and I'm the same way. Well, it depends on the day how well I take criticism. It depends how it's framed, and if it's from like it comes from a place of love or a place of less love.
Well, I mean, criticism has to come with permission at all times. If I come to you and be like, hey, can you give me criticism? You're like, oh, sure, why not? I got you. But nobody wants unwanted criticism. They're like, oh yeah, your drawing that you did there, it's got, I don't know, it's got a penis. I've had this once. I put a penis in a poster, right? For reasons that needed to be there. Me and the director of a show, we decided to make it like high school, blah blah blah. So it's like, oh, what's more high school than penis? So I drew some penises on there, and people are like, Andre, penises on a thing is so immature. What I thought you were better in this. Da 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 da. I'm like, bitch, fuck off. Like who? Like, what do you know? You know nothing. You know nothing. Like, go off. I didn't ask for criticism. I said, hey, enjoy this picture of this poster I just made, and if you don't want to enjoy, move along. Nobody said, hey, I want your opinion. Nobody said that. Get the fuck out of here. If I said I want your opinion, please give it to me. It's funny that, like, so many times I will post something that like, hey, I want your critique. And I don't care who, just give me your critique. And just like, 2-3 people will say something. Silence. And then there's something that I don't ask for critique, and people are just like, fuck yourself. Go make a sandwich for yourself and eat it and watch movies. And don't worry about me. I'm going to do me. You do you.
That's so funny. Oh, man. Yeah, like I don't know when the last time someone gave me unsolicited criticism, but it was almost definitely my dad, and it was almost definitely unnecessary and unhelpful.
Oh, family.
Yeah.
Family thinks
like I'll be like, oh, I think I'm like I'm like, I'll be like, oh, I made a new friend, so telling him like I made you as a friend or something like that, and he goes, well, I'm not gonna fucking learn his name. And I'm like, I don't need you to learn their name.
Oh, that's so funny.
And he's like, we'll see if you're still friends in a month. And I'm like, Dad, like, stop. I don't need this. Yeah, my dad thinks that I have too many friends. My dad has very few friends.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all live different lives. As long as you feel like they're friends, I mean, that's it, And especially you as an adult, you know what a friend is and what's not a friend. Like my sister, she kind of got sucked into just like being popular in a sense, And then she like brought over, freak man, like maybe like 60 kids to one of her last birthday parties. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? first of all, I don't want these people here. I teach them, and half of these are assholes. You know, obviously not their fault. Obviously, educational
Yeah.
system, parents being absent, whatever it may be. But that does not take the fact away that their behavior affects now me in my home, and I will not stand for it. In school, all right, whatever. It ain't my business. Like, I'll be there. I'm a teacher. You want to be stupid? I'll just send you to the office. In my home, oh, you want to act fucking stupid? You gonna get kicked the fuck out real fast. You ain't not in my house. You know. So I was like, you better pick your friends carefully, because if you don't, I will make sure that those that do belong here will know that they don't fucking belong here. You know. So hopefully she's starting to realize, just like I kind of showed her, it's like, here's your friends. Here, you see this person? She's an amazing friend to you because she cares about you. She cares about your family. She's respectful. Blah 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 blah. See this one right here? Yeah, you see how he just laughed that you fell? You see how he actually helped you fall, or you see how he's talking shit to you and he's flipping off your mom? He's 6 years old or 8 years old or 10 years old, whatever. This is not respectable behavior. Like, he does not fucking belong here. He shows up again. I'm gonna talk to his mom real nice, fucking real nice. You know. So it's like, you better
Such
make
a
these
good big
decisions.
brother. Oh, that's so great. That's so great. Like, my brothers are only within 3 years of me, so we never really had, like, we had some of the whole big brother thing, but not nearly in the same way. Like, they were just as stupid as me growing up,
Mhm.
So
Well, yeah, she's 12. I'm freaking 30. She could be my freaking daughter if in a different life. Like, if I could have had a kid at 18. A lot of people have that. So it's like the age difference is, I kind of accept the parental role most of the time. Sometimes here and there. But at the same time, still try to be like, it's an interesting balance. Still be a brother, and just like, you'd be like, all right, like, I want you to make stupid mistakes. We have mom to do whatever she needs to do. But at the same time, like, I do need to set a good example for her and just kind of explain it to her. Be like, here's the facts, right? Let's figure out how we can get you to where you need to be, right? Without me being judging you or controlling you, or even just showing you some freedom. So it's an interesting place. But I know she is going to be, I mean, she's already an amazing human, but I know she's going to do some good things in this world.
yeah, I love listening to you talk about your sister, because your whole face lights up. I don't know if you realize that it's just so much love all over your face.
I love her so much. She's amazing. She's amazing. Yeah. Speaking of love, because I didn't want to talk about love, and we're almost like over an hour anyway. Um, what? Let's talk about love. In a sense, like I know we were talking about in the Marco Polo, just like, maybe like the soulmate thing, right? Or just like this love that's so deep, or just like transcendental love, I think we're talking about. And I wanted to just like maybe get an idea from you what that looks like for you. Like, if I know you said you've never experienced it, but if you were to experience it, what would that look like? How would you create that individual?
The theoretical
Yes.
transcendent love. Um, well, I mean, I've definitely loved, and so in case any of my exes happen to listen to this, I didn't not love you. Um, but I think, it's so hard. It's so hard to say, but think I think that there would be, first of all, benefit of the doubt. It would just be, the trust with that partner would be like, it wouldn't even be a question. Like, the benefit of the doubt would be the automatic. I think that part's really important. I think that's a really big hiccup in a lot of relationships, is a sense of competition instead of cooperation. Right? So I think that there would be that cooperation where it's, you were talking about the triangle thing. I think that's huge in any relationship, but especially that, where it's like, you trust each other to have your own lives, but ultimately you work toward a same goal together. And I think that would be a part of it. I think that the intimacy factors would be, compatibility that way,
Penis, vagina.
Yeah, well, or penis, butthole, or whatever you're into, vagina, vagina mouth, there's a whole lot.
Vagina mouth. I'd spend some time on that, but let's keep going.
but sexual compatibility.
Yes.
I could have just said that and it wouldn't have been quite as awkward, but that's fine. Uh, so that part is huge. But I think intellectual compatibility
Mm-hmm.
is so important where, and I mean, I think probably the biggest thing, okay, so I mean, you know what intellectual compatibility is, so I don't need to explain that. And the biggest thing probably for me that I would look for in a soulmate or that I hope to find is a sense of safety.
Mm-hmm.
Safety is so huge. And when I say safety, I mean safety. You could take a nasty shit and not have to worry that they're going to judge you.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could get like a pimple on your back and it's like you don't feel like you have to hide that for like, your humanity is allowed to be shown in all the different ways. I could watch Bambi and cry and
Mm-hmm.
not have to worry that, all those kinds of things. And the same with my partner is they feel safe enough to be their true selves, feel safe enough to tell me things that they think I'm probably not going to like dig and feel safe enough to do it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is probably the biggest thing that I dream of
Mm-hmm.
in a soulmate. And then, I mean, there's other things that are dope, like I'd like to find them hot.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like them to find me hot. I feel like pretending that physical attraction isn't at all a factor is a little silly.
I agree.
But that's really secondary, tertiary, maybe even
Mm-hmm.
to the other things. Um, I want them to have a voice that doesn't make me want to punch them, because some people do have voices that make me want to punch them. Um, but like I said, there's all sorts of like physical, like, I mean, I'd like them to smell in a way I find attractive. So there's all sorts of like physical
Mm-hmm.
aspects. I feel like that's all kind of random. Like I think we're just randomly assigned a body, in whatever comes before life. I think they're just like this will do for them.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it matters too much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think similar, not even similar, compatible goals. Like if someone wants to run a multi-million-dollar corporation that's going to like rape and pillage people, I'm probably not going to be, digging that
Mm-hmm.
person. And that's fine. Or if someone hates goats, they're not going to be my soulmate. Uh, I mean, it makes me so sad to think that people hate goats,
That's weird.
but
Goats are like doggies. Like they're so
they're the
great.
dogs of the farm world, right?
Yeah.
Like,
They're so
so
cute.
energetic,
Like they'll just sit
cute,
there and they'll rub up against you with their horns. It's like,
or
dude.
they'll bite you with their little bottom teeth, and
Oh,
you're like, oh my god, you're so cute. I just want to die. Okay, sorry.
goats.
I like goats a little bit. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I would say that. What about you? What are your thoughts on either what I said or your own thoughts on what a
Well,
soulmate would mean?
Well, first of all, it's beautiful. I want to touch on the physical things a little bit. The physical attraction is all evolutionarily speaking, like genetically speaking, that which you find attractive is that which you'll find compatible with your own genes. Like we might not be consciously aware, but like the way we like somebody's smell or the way we like somebody's look, or again just the way their skin looks or anything like that. It's all genetic disposition to how they are, and health wise, genetically wise, are they a good fit for your offspring, how likely are they to survive. That's all that beauty is, like the skin deep stuff. It's all genetically, it's all in a genetic biological bubble that says, hey, are they a compatible suitor to get your babies to survive in the future generation, which that is very important regardless. But yeah, after that, all of the soul connections that you share, all of that beauty that you can share with each other, like the safety, like you said, yeah, one of the greatest things that make a relationship work. Because yeah, if you feel like you can't share a part of yourself, you're never really truly you in front of them, so then they're never really loving you. They're loving either a mask that you put on or a projection that they put on to you, like you were talking about in one of your relationships, I believe. Like that's the kind of person that I was. I wasn't allowing somebody to be who they were because I wasn't secure about me, so I put a mask on them to love that instead of them, because I couldn't love them for who they were. It was too vibrant or too radiant or too free, and it made me feel small and made me feel insecure. So I had to, first of all, try to contain it and then try to put a mask over it, saying that's not who she is. She's this that I made up, and all of these things I can fix. All of these things I can get rid of because I don't like those. So it's again just so safety. First of all, to be yourself, to show yourself, appreciate yourself and them for who they are. And yeah, zero judgment, because if you're going to go on a life journey, you need to be able to be partners, cooperate, create something that's magical. And the only way you can create is if you just lay everything out on the table and say, here's what I got, what you got, how can we mix all these things together to make something beautiful, you know? So I'm with you 1.5% there. I don't completely agree with you.
I was just gonna say,
yeah.
do you completely agree?
But yeah, so there's a lot of beauty there. Like I've had this thought for quite a while, and it kind of piggybacks on our podcast about darkness a little bit ago, and when I found myself really like diving into like the longing for this, for this wholeness, for feeling like you're separated from this. In the Sufi language, it's a separation from God, and for me, it's my separation from God is this, just being together with the divine feminine in a sense. I feel like I'm the embodiment of the masculine, right, in whatever way it is, but also finding the divine feminine in your mind to kind of becoming a wholesome individual, to also then find that physically, and to just, I don't know, it gets, there's a whole thing that's its own episode. But sat there in this longing and felt the pain and felt and just kind of maybe psychically crying out to the goddess, right, and be like, here's this, right, and kind of realizing that perhaps like this even idea of this soulmate or the divine flame, whatever you want to call it, that is just femininity in general, right? Like there's this a way to approach femininity. There's this a way to approach the feminine in this gentle way that you hold it in your hand without squeezing it. You just allow it to exist in your grasp, but you don't suffocate it. You water it daily. You love it, but you don't try to manipulate it or control it. So there's a lot of things that kind of came to me from this dance, from this longing, that I thought, maybe an individual doesn't even need to have like these qualities, because you always have that connection with your own inner feminine or your own inner masculine, or whatever it is that you personally feel like you want more of. And that, everybody, like anybody, can be that spiritual connection for you, because you can love them, and you love them for the faulty person that they are, because we're all faulty people. None of us are perfect, and you love them for who they are, and then still having that connection to the perfect version of who they can be, spiritually speaking, of where we're all striving to be. Because you're not perfect, I'm not perfect, none of us are perfect. We're all works in progress. And if we could just see or keep the eyes on the prize, and have that growth as being the goal, and then you could attach yourself with anybody that has a similar goal, and you can both grow toward that state of perfection. But again, compatibility is important, because who has that same goal, and what is that goal? Can your two goals align in that sense? Because your growth and my growth might be different. One person's growth, like you said, it's this multi-billion-dollar business to Walmart. Don't respect that fucking thing at all, because they're stealing so much shit, and there's quality over quantity. Like, you need to find somebody that's compatible with your dream, with your goal, and how you can use each other to just rise up, baby, rise up. So, I don't know. I'm in a place where it's very interesting. It's just an interesting place. And that's why I just love everybody. Like, it's easy, just like I'm just gonna love you, and then eventually I'll love somebody, and they'll be like, hey, there's this I don't know all the Greek words for love. I know there's agape,
Agape, and there's Phileas, Sergios. No, I don't remember. So I did an episode on it.
Ooh, but I believe there's 6, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 6 or 7. Yeah.
6 or 7. So there's a 6 or 7 loves, and one's family love, one's romantic love, one's platonic friend love, one's like other love, whatever
Sexual,
it is.
Sexual, like lust, and yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, that's what it is. And I feel like, you learn those loves, you express those loves as you go along. And I feel like eventually you will run into an individual who you can express love through, as a friend, and then you can express that. You'll feel comfortable expressing that love as a lover, and then as a family member, and then as every one of those expressions of love in that one individual. Because I've met I've met incredible humans. I've met such amazing people, and I've been able to love them, one way or another, or multiple ways. And it's like some of them, some individuals say, they want to see me as a lover, or something like that. Move it on into a different place. But I don't feel the comfort there. So I feel like as an individual, you will keep exploring these different languages of love, or different expressions of love, and eventually you'll find a person that will just have those same desires. Like, all right, I want to do. That's why it's important to just start out as friends. Can we have this basic level of just respect for each other? Can we see each other for who we are, and then let's build on it, and then let's build on it, and then let's build on it. And I feel like maybe that doesn't happen enough, because everybody always just wants to dive into the, oh, I'm attracted to you, so let's fuck. It's like, yo, do you, like, let's start at the bottom base level here, friends, then and then we'll see if we can climb the ladder, and then if you can, great. If not, stop it there and keep that love, and just say, hey, we're here. That's why, like, I respect polyamorous people. I respect, like, any walks of form that you can find, because, hey, this person extracts love from these different ways, and if you don't, that's fine. Just love them in the way that you can or you want to, and then find your own love over here, over there, over here. It's like, you don't have to force people to be who you need them to be. You can just accept them as they are. If they fit, great. If not, just keep on trucking, baby. Keep on trucking.
Yeah, like, whew, so many things that came. So one of the things is, I'm gonna go backward, and who knows, but the thing you just said about, if they're not the right person, I think that's one of the things that I've definitely gotten stuck on, and I've definitely had people get stuck on, is that they get so, like, they start having romantic feelings, which is cool. Romantic feelings happen. It's not really a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get stuck on this idea of those romantic feelings, and then they get like, but once you say no, they aren't actually hearing you as an individual. They're seeing an individual that they've kind of, we've talked a bunch of times now about the projections in our mind of the individuals around us. So they have this projection where it's like, and I think one of the things that probably my biggest pet peeve, and I only have a couple these days, is when people say, well, you didn't even give me a chance. Like, to fucking convince me to have emotions that I don't have? Like, what chance am I supposed to give you?
So funny.
Like, oh, sorry, a little soapboxy here, but, like,
No, what? That's
calm
perfect.
down with that shit, y'all. Like, you complain about friend zones. Okay, what about the love zone or the girlfriend zone? Like,
Mm-hmm.
calm down. Maybe we can just love each other.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I got so soapboxy. I don't mean to. It's just like, it just really grinds my gears when people behave like anyone owes us anything. I am
Ah.
so grateful for the people that love me and appreciate me and see me, because they don't owe me shit.
Mm-hmm.
Even my family doesn't owe me anything.
Amen.
And so when people cross that boundary, I tend to get a little touchy, so don't. Um, anyone that's listening, don't.
I love that.
Sorry.
No,
Uh,
what? Sorry? What?
thank you for your patience.
That's so funny. No,
Um,
yeah, that's perfect. Like, no soapbox needed. This is our soapbox. We can say whatever the fuck we want, and you're saying everything is beautiful. So keep on saying beautiful things.
well, and the other thing that I thought was interesting. So, it, uh, riddle me this.
Oh.
Would you? So, when you were talking,
Mm.
what I understood you to be saying is that the idea of a soulmate isn't necessarily, like, as traditionally understood,
Mm-hmm.
isn't necessarily something that you believe in, more that you believe that two people who have certain compatibilities can create the idea of a soulmate together.
See, you're beautiful. The things you say are amazing, because it's true, right? So that's what I was saying, in a sense. And the problem is, I'm stuck in between that and the traditional view, right? Because I feel like we are created as we're created, right? And there are, scientifically speaking, particles that are attached. The doctor used to.
Entangled?
Yeah, entangled particles. Like, you talked to the doctor, and he talked about it very well. So we have entangled particles, and they express themselves. They're the information that's travels between them is instantaneous. So I don't believe that me being a body is any different. We're made up of particles. We're made up of everything that quantum mechanics is. And there are schools of thoughts that don't believe that the fundamental physics apply to us. It just gets evened out. It just gets ironed out because we're bigger. So I do believe that there is this attachment that exists between two particles. I'm just a particle, and that you can find this one particle, right? But I also understand that you don't need to find that one particle. I feel like if you want to, it is a journey that could last a lifetime. And if you're up for it, dude, it's an adventure. Do it. Like, I'm all for it. I'm sitting here saying that I have accepted the fact that even if I don't find this individual until the day that I die, I know that I will see her on the other side, because you get reunited with the unity. I've accepted that. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Like, I'm here. It's awesome. But at the same time, if it happens, great, it happens. Awesome. But and at the same time as that, if you don't want to go on this journey, you can still create this path with an individual that that you're compatible with, and then just hold that love for your entangled particle, we call it, inside of you, and strive for that love. How would that be with this individual, and them the same thing with you? How would this be? And you're almost, is it like the triangle thing? You have this united focus, right, to reach your highest potential, and you're there growing together to kind of reach that. So I'm in a place where they both kind of exist, that you can and you can't, or you should or you
Schrodinger's
shouldn't.
love.
It's Schrodinger's love. Fucking shit. Is this a song? I think this should be a song. Schrodinger's love. God damn it. This is so good.
So, so I'm going to ask you
Okay.
for your thoughts on something,
Okay.
because you don't often meet people who have similar ideologies to this, so I don't get to discuss it very much. Sorry. Not sorry, just regular. So
Just
my
regular. Regular. I love that. Continue.
I should have said pardon me, but whatever.
That's lovely.
Uh, so recognition is the part that I fear is really more accurate than struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
So I have really started this journey of entering into things from a friendship point of view, and meeting people. And I mean, honestly, on the dating sites, it is a nightmare, because everyone either wants casual sex or they want you to be their girlfriend tomorrow, and there just doesn't seem to be anything in between. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. So I, obviously only fuck with individuals, or I only participate with individuals that at least seem to understand where I'm coming from. So I believe in this, friendship, and see if there's a compatibility. And then if people seem to have things that work, then you go on together and do whatever the things that are going to happen. I mean, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know beyond the first couple steps what happens. But what I fear is recognition, especially mutual recognition, and understanding, dancing with the boundaries. So like you were talking about, someone says to you, like, oh, I have these feelings. Well, it scares me to tell someone that I have feelings for them if I feel like it's going to feel like pressure, and I don't want to fuck with, well, I mean, you've seen me. When it comes to boundaries, I'm super weird, and I'm like, I don't know what the boundaries are, so you just have to tell me if I start crossing them. And so that's what, I basically, I guess, do you just have to have faith that both people will be on the same page and that you'll be able to recognize it? I guess so, right? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I believe that 100%. At the same time, I also believe in clear communication between individuals, and I know you feel the same way as well. So it's like, if I find myself in a place where I do have romantic feelings, and then, I keep spending time with this individual, and because, there was a time with a friend that I had these feelings of attraction, right? And it was definitely feelings of attraction, but I didn't want to label it's like like romantic, sexual, whatever it was. But there was this pull that I was feeling, which in the past I would have claimed as attraction. Fuck her, right? Um, right? But it was there, and I just allowed myself to be in that space. I continued to interact with them. I continued to grow a relationship, and then maybe a month, maybe 2 months into it, that attraction revealed itself to me as just a really close friendship, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was beautiful. I would have, and now, like, again, one of my closest friends, like, she's like, I've done productions with her, we've acted together, like, it's just, it was such a deep, like, soul connection. I was like, this is amazing, and I love her dearly, but it wasn't like anything sexual. But again, if I jumped the gun, or if I projected my own, like, whatever it was, I wouldn't have allowed it to evolve into the thing that it was supposed to come to, right? So what I personally do is, I kind of wait it out, see what it actually is, and if I did come to the realization that it was romantic and that this was something that I was interested in deeper, then I'd be like, hey, listen, what, like, this is how I feel, and not,
Digging your
yeah,
vibe.
yeah, it's like, this is how I feel, and you know what, if you don't feel this way, that's completely fine. I can take this and I can get it out of me, like, don't worry about it. This actually happened once as well, like, this specifically. um I lived with a friend. She was also a teacher. She was like a third or fourth grade teacher. I don't remember, but I was living with her. I was a substitute, and I just enjoyed her presence. She was cool. This was, again, my misunderstanding that I was romantically interested in her. But we spent some time together, and just went out for like a weekend trip to Portland, hiking, talking, blah blah blah. Just grew closer, and I mistook that growing closer as something romantic. So I didn't sit with it for a while. I just kind of felt it, and I was like, I need to get it out. So I sat next to her and be like, listen, like, this is how I feel. These are my emotions right now. Like, if you feel the same way, great, whatever. If not, or if it's not appropriate, I'll just get it out of me. And I ended up, she was already dating a few people, so I knew she didn't need me. I just needed to express that. So the next, like, 3 or 4 days, I sat down and I just got that emotion out into a song, right? And that was the fuck, I don't remember the name of songs. That was no, yep, I don't remember the name of my own songs. How dare I don't remember my
Just
babies.
send it to me later. It's fine.
I'll send it to you. But yeah, so I wrote a song down, I got it out, I sent it to her, and then that feeling kind of went away. I was like, I don't, like, I still love her, appreciate her, the connection we grew, but I see that this purpose was for me to just kind of sit in this and just kind of express it through the song, and now it's gone. Awesome, right? You just learn to use those emotions for whatever you can. So in this situation, if you found yourself in a romantic place and you are sure it's a romantic sensation, then yeah, just be like, hey, this is how I feel about you. If this is if it's okay, let's see if we can do this. If you don't want to feel this way, that's fine too. Like, there's no pressure, there's no attachment, there's no nothing. This is how I'm feeling. If I am off base, I will take this emotion, I'll use it in a different way. Like, I'll express it in a different way, and I'll get rid of it, and we can just be friends. And if that doesn't work, then whatever. Maybe they're not. Then they're not meant to be in your life, and that's okay as well.
That I think that's helpful. It's helpful. I'm gonna be like, you know what I mean when I say, like, emotionally digesting,
Yes.
or like cognitively digesting. Yeah, I'm gonna be cognitively digesting this conversation for a few days. I am sure. But that's very cool. I like the way you work, kid.
Thanks. Well, no wonder we talk like almost every other day now on the Polo, and why we're releasing such great stuff to the audience, because I feel like there is a lot of value in our conversation, and I agree with you as well. Like, I don't get a chance to connect with people on this wavelength too often, and to explore some of these ideas. So, like, I value you so deeply for this opportunity to sit here and chat with you, to unravel your mind and unravel my mind. Because like, these thoughts are collecting cobwebs, and I'm cool with it. Like, I'm still gonna operate, but I do think that other people can find a lot of value in our conversations.
Well, it's I always think of, like, I know that they usually use this for like negative things, but unpacking. Like, I always think of it like that, is like when you have a good stimulating conversation with someone who you can resonate with on a regular basis. it's like you're helping each other to like unpack and organize all of these little thoughts that, like, when they exist in our mind, they just bounce around like an echo in an echo chamber, right? Because our brain only knows what our brain knows. We can
Mm-hmm.
be objective as we want, but at the end of the day, we're still filtering everything through our own experiences and biases and all of that stuff. And so it's cool because having a like-minded individual helps you, but but not the same,
Mm-hmm.
helps you to unpack things and to see where, oh hey, you know what, that doesn't actually make as much sense as it felt like it did before I said it.
Mm-hmm. I
and and like, oh, I missed this. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, I'm just
I
gonna
just said I was
continue.
gonna agree. Yeah, I just say I agree. You need opposition to know where you are. To where you stand, and the only way to get that is through, intellectual battles, whatever they may be. And I'm not saying you're stupid, you're dumb, but just like a conversation between the two. It's like, here's my idea. What do you look at it, inspect it. What do you see? And especially having somebody like you, a detail-oriented individual who's a creator and artist who actually knows how to look at things. Be like, oh, but did you look at this right here? And I'm like, oh, this right here? Let's look at this right now, and then we can discuss that. And that's how you can really solidify an idea, through opposition. This is science.
It's science.
Science.
And more science has to do with quantum mechanics again, or quantum physics, or maybe just regular physics. Now I'm doubting myself. Is that observation changes things. So allowing people to observe your thoughts automatically is going to change them to some degree. But I have a question for you. It's only somewhat related, but
Okay.
it's important to me.
Okay.
Um, do you, as an artist, because you're also a visual artist, do you filter like the world through like the ideas of drawing? Like when you see people, do you think about like, oh, like that's a really cool, unique like feature, and like I wonder how you would draw that? Do you also do that?
That's a good question. I don't think of life in specific artistic terms, like how you would draw that or anything like that. But I do think of it in artistic concepts like contrast and composition, and how to structure something, or storytelling. Like all of these things are how you structure art, right? Like for me, art. The reason why I'm an art is because it showed me this direct correlation to life, this direct connection to life. And for me, it showed that through my creations, I can create the universe around me. So there's a very intimate relationship between creativity, uh, being an artist, and the life that you lead, right? So I've gotten to the point where personally, I know that as an artist, at least for me, right, my goal is to not create a piece of paper or draw on the guitar like I did yesterday, which was super fun, or just make something tangible right here. It's to truly structure my life to the depths of my desire, and fill it with contrast and composition and texture and story and this, that, the other thing, and truly make my life the masterpiece. Everything else is just what I like to say, the footprints in the sand. The painting is just, it's where I was at that moment, and there it is, and now I'm gone. And then, oh, there's another footprint, and there it is, and now I'm gone. And maybe water washes over that footprint, or maybe it remains there. It doesn't matter, because the art's right here, baby. This is the art right here. He's walking. He's walking there. And that's how I see that's how I found unconditional love through other people, to other people, is because I understand that they are also our masterpiece in progress. Whether they know it or not, they're creating their choices. They're choosing their life in whatever way they can, and at the end of the day, their life is going to be a masterpiece. Now, is it going to be a well-balanced one, a well-composed one? It doesn't matter. It's going to be its own masterpiece. There's going to be light, there's going to be dark, there's going to be things that they did, and it's going to be there, right? And I'll find it beautiful. Some people might say, hey, that's too dark for me. Well, fuck you. And somebody say, hey, this is too light for me. Well, suck a dick, and then it's fine. That's fine. It's like, it is what it is. That's their life. That's their masterpiece. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to appreciate the fuck out of it. That's what I'm going to do, So that's how I view life and people in it, in the creative way.
That's very cool. And it's such an expansive answer. Uh,
I enjoy it.
I, com- um, I find that I'm similar as well in how, although I think that's so beautiful. Like what a beautiful word picture to call everyone a masterpiece in the making. beautiful.
Mm.
Um, but I mean, I was referring more to like just the cognition side of things, but doesn't matter. Because I was just here's why it came into my head because I'm very cool and I'm gonna explain it.
I believe you.
Is so you know that drawing that I did the other day,
Yes.
right? Of you.
Yes.
So the reason that I drew like I was thinking of you and I wanted to do something nice, especially because you the beautiful intro song. Oh my God, it's so lovely. I've listened to it like so many times. But uh, there's this thing that whenever I talk to you, this is gonna sound so weird, but I notice your upper lip and the shape of it. I always notice it. And I was like, I want to draw him.
Yeah.
So, and that happens to me a lot where I'll see a tree or I'll see a bird's nest or I'll see a human and they'll have like an interesting feature and there's just so much beauty in it. And I'm like, well, I want to
Mm.
not even recreate, but I just want to do something that represents that
Mm-hmm.
particular beauty. So,
Mm.
you probably didn't even notice, that I paid just like Napoleon Dynamite. I paid special attention to your upper lip.
Ooh.
Uh, but, but yeah. So, anyways, that's what made me think of that, and now I've admitted it in front of who knows how many people. So that's fun.
It's beautiful.
Uh,
I mean, it perhaps like especially when it comes to people. Like I think I told you like I don't like doing portraits all that often. You know, it's something that exists, and the same thing with like nature as it is to kind of capture it. Um, I I think it's almost like a waste of my personal time because it's there, it exists. Me as a creator, I can't create that. It's been created, it exists. So I'll just sit there and and I'll meditate on it and I'll look at it. I do like to if I have the time to just sit there and meditate with a pen and pencil, oh frick yeah! Like I'll sit there and draw a tree and draw all the little, the bark falling off on all the lines. I'll get deep into the detail, but I don't make that a common practice because it's something that I can get really lost in, and I don't. It doesn't give me anything too new from my understanding of it. There is what you're saying. There is this way to look at things that I think people could benefit from, right? To actually look at things the way they are, the way the light falls onto something, the way the texture pops out, an interesting shape, something that's distinguishing, because it allows you to see something that most people might not miss, because you have to really look at things. And being an artist definitely expands on that skill and ability, and can really, give you like almost a magnifying glass to the beauty that's around you, right? There's this whole face, but you found something super beautiful about my top lip. Awesome. I love that. That's awesome. I'm gonna put that in my pocket and I'd be like, hey girl, I got a sexy top upper lip. Yeah. It's distinguished. I'm gonna use that. That's gonna be great for like my comedy stick or something. I'm gonna enjoy that. But it's about just like expanding on that talent of seeing something and yeah, like you say, almost paying homage to it. Like, oh, there's something nice to it. I want to be with it in whatever way that is. Whether it's when you're recreating it, you're spending quality time with that thing, whatever it is. Tree, bird, upper lip. By the way, I love that you shared that. Like, I do respect that deeply. But it's about just seeing beauty, and being an artist. It's about learning to see the beauty, or at least learning to see something and express it and spend time with it, being one with it. So yeah, man, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And it's funny because I'm actually usually the same way about portraiture, because I don't usually like to show my cards, because because I can't. Oh, I've got a fucking hair in my mouth.
And I got a booger in my nose, so you take care of that. I'll take care of this. All right.
It was a cat hair. Thanks, Oscar. But I don't know how it got in my mouth, but suddenly it was in my mouth. That sounds like a "that's what she said" joke. But I've gotten myself distracted. Yeah, I don't like portraiture very much either, because I obviously don't draw realism. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
But portraiture reveals so much about what you see, and it's very vulnerable to do portraiture, because then that I'm paying all sorts of weird attention to your upper lip.
Lovely attention, not weird at all.
and and so try very hard to avoid portraiture as a rule. But at the same time, there's something very beautiful about being vulnerable enough to say, hey, this is what I see.
Hmm.
Check it, you know.
Amen. I mean, vulnerability is key. I think it's one of the most beautiful things we can share, and we can, uh, what's the word? So people can emulate it. You know, vulnerability is the key to, I mean, a wonderful life. You know, to just acceptance and judgment-free zones. Like if you're vulnerable enough to sit with yourself and to just see what is happening, and without again judgment or anything of that nature, you allow yourself to be, and that's through vulnerability. And maybe that'll come into the song about whatever else. I already forgot what song I was gonna write. I'm gonna have to rewatch this and stuff. Yeah, it's 2 o'clock. We've been talking a while, which we can talk forever. I know that for a fact, and I've been appreciating this.
Yes.
But we're gonna wrap this up right now. I think
All
this has
right.
been an incredible conversation. I thank you for taking the time to sit with me and chat with me and record this for people to explore on their own time. I do want to welcome people to our new podcast, which will be called Internet with Friends.
Nope, friends with internet.
Thank you. That's why we have each other. Friends with Internet, Internet with Friends. Friends with Internet, and we will be releasing that very soon once we complete the cover art. Honestly, at that point, I just got to whip it out and stick it in. You know, that's all I'm going to have to do. I've been very sexual in my jokes after my Adult Swim special. I'm just like, you know, let's let it rip. Quick note before I leave, or we leave. Did you personally watch the? I don't know if I sent this to you. There's a clip that they made, like a 15-second clip from that episode. Did you watch that?
No.
It's hilarious.
Is it about the booty hole? Oh my god.
It's
It's about your
hilarious.
booty hole, isn't it?
It's there is the word, the booty hole is in it. It's hilarious. I just shared it everywhere. I found it so funny
Oh.
that they plucked this little tiny moment from that hour, and it's gold. It's gold. But yeah, whatever. If you haven't seen it, go watch it on adultswim.com. But yeah,
Absolutely.
is there anything that you would like to leave the listeners with before we go specifically?
If you want to hear more of me, and I mean, occasionally, I'm sure Andre. Well, I don't know how much we're going to do each other's podcast now that we're going to have our own podcast. But if you want to hear more of me talking to random people who are much smarter than me, the Conquest of Bliss is my podcast. If you want to draw pictures in a collaborative way with a bunch of different people from who knows where and sell that book for charity, then Draw in Love on Facebook. You want to look it up. It's a group. Check it out. Or what else do I do, Andre? Artstrom is my uh, my website, artstromdigital.com, if you want to check out animation or illustration stuff. And I think that's basically it right now. Oh, and Friends with Internet
Friends
is
with Internet.
it's going to be coming out soon, and it's going to be dope AF.
Yes, because we both have been enjoying it thoroughly, and I'm sure other people will also enjoy it thoroughly, and it's super vulnerable. So who doesn't want to hear that? It's just like literally making best friends, just making best friends, and you don't got to do nothing. You just got to sit there and listen. You know, that's it. That's it. And let's see. Yeah, I will include a bunch of your links in the description below. So please go ahead and visit that. Look around. Kara is an incredible human. As if you haven't noticed by now, she's very lovely, very giving, very loving, and she wants to help the world learn, and burn and passion and love, but not actually burn, because we're not that crazy. But yeah, I'll include all of that. And yeah, love you guys. We're going to sign off right this moment. Yeah, peace and deuces and goodbyes.